And
Bourbon.
All right.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. Welcome back, people.
Hi.
Episode 3 of
Bourbon, beards, barbells, and bullshit.
We'll get better.
We'll get better. Sometimes we miss the order up just a little bit.
So now, we decided to have a
format.
Yeah.
Structure,
So we're gonna cover like a couple of topics, like maybe two topics, and then
one, two major
bodybuilding,
weightlifting, nutrition,
and then we're gonna do bullshit or bliss.
And then we're gonna do like 4 or 5 apiece.
Yeah, I had this idea of doing like kind of like David Letterman used to do.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but we're asking the other one just their opinion. Is it bullshit or bliss?
Right.
And no explanation, right? So, it's just bullshit or bliss.
I'll give you 5 questions.
Right.
I'll give you 5 topics. They're basically like topics or questions or whatever, and then then you'll answer.
And then I'll go.
Okay. We're going off the cuff today.
Yeah, we're going off the cuff today. So.
Let's see. Well, surprising news, like the world of bodybuilding. I was just reading this too.
Right.
Dave Palumbo just released that he had some
thyroid
cancer. Yeah, and it's like polyp kind.
Okay.
So it's very treatable. One of my clients who's a doctor, he was messaging me because he keeps track of all of this.
Yeah, he
stuff.
keeps all up with it.
And he's also a radiologist.
Okay.
So Byron, if you're listening, that's you. He works in Vegas. He works at the Veterans Hospital.
The VA.
Really, actually, I was surprised. It's a good establishment. Like you hear all these complaints about the VA, but the one there in Vegas is good.
Most of them are pretty decent. I think it's hard to get in sometimes. I don't really know enough about it, but
my stepfather died of stomach cancer, and he was a veteran, and he worked solely for the VA, and they did a great job.
Right.
Like they worked with my mom, and they worked with him.
Absolutely.
So they did a really good job. I was really impressed that and they got him in really fast.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't think it's always like that.
It probably depends on where you are in the population of the area.
I've just heard.
Plus, there's a lot of bases.
And I've heard horror stories about guys who have like PTSD. Some of these things they're not really treating well. Like I've literally heard stories of guys in a parking lot of the fucking VA because they couldn't get in to see a doctor. They were in such a bad state because they were PTSD that they shot themselves in the parking lot.
Yeah, which is awful,
horrible, especially for people who fucking served our goddamn country.
And that's what messed them up.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think we should take responsibility for that stuff.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. I mean, especially if we're asking people to risk their lives and we're paying them dick for it.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I never could join the military when I was like getting out of high school. My twin brother joined the Army and to pay his way through school. But if you asked him today, was it worth it? He would probably tell you no, because they didn't fulfill all the parts of their obligation.
Right.
Like this is during the late 80s and early 90s when Bill Clinton was coming into office, I believe, and there was they were cutting back on a lot of the funding for the military.
Coming out of the Gulf War, right?
Coming right out of the Gulf War,
right.
And I remember they literally called him and said, "Hey man, we can't pay you," or he didn't get a check. That's what he didn't get a check one month, and he called his CEO. He's like, "Hey man, I didn't get a check this month,"
right?
And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Ty. We forgot to tell you that the funding was cut and." We're gonna honorably discharge you.
They did that again too, where they were cutting funding. I had a client back in Tennessee because there's the base there, and he had served like 4 or 5 tours as a ranger, and had gotten a DUI when he was like 18 or 19 when he had first enlisted. They needed him, used it, and came back later, 5 tours later, and discharged him because of that. Because he had on the record, they said, "Hey, we're going through files, and anybody that has this, sorry, we don't need you right now." Yep. Thanks for the 10 years.
Exactly. Damn. Especially because I know, some people like it as a career, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm glad people are out there like
Absolutely.
That. It's just not me.
No, not me.
Here's my problem. I have a problem with taking orders.
You think?
I'm going to have questions.
That's not surprising.
I'm going to have follow-up questions.
About everything.
Yes, I got to have follow-up. I want to understand.
It doesn't work that way.
Not in the military. No. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Because
they tell you to do stupid stuff just to make you do it.
Well, yeah,
to see if you're going to follow order.
I remember asking my brother once. I said, so it was right after we got out.
Right.
And we were both going to Oregon State. And I said, "Hey, man, did you get anything from your experience?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Well, I learned how to eat fast." That was it. Yeah. That was the complete value that he got from the military. Although he was really good at it. He said they wanted to make me like a platoon leader and all this. He said, fuck that shit. I don't want no goddamn fucking blanket party.
I want more,
Because you got to assign all the duties.
Oh, yeah.
So you sign someone they don't like their duties and they give you a little blanket party.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, that's where they take a couple bars of soap.
And put him in a pillowcase.
And they beat the shit. Like, everyone takes turns beating the shit.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, fuck that.
No, not happening.
So he was like, no, I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah.
He said one of his favorite parts, though, of being in the military was when they would go out range shooting and stuff.
Yeah.
He said him and his buddy would volunteer for work because he said, man, everyone was so stupid. They wouldn't volunteer because if you wait to get assigned, you're going to get
shitty, yeah.
some jerky like assignment. But he said if you volunteer, you can volunteer for the good stuff. So they would volunteer to reload rounds in other clips and stuff.
Right.
And he said in our clips, in our ammunition, we would load all tracers.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a fucking laser show. He said we were lighting up fucking trees and shit. He said it was a blast. I was like, okay.
Yeah, have some fun with it if you got to do it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, why not, right? Like, besides he was like 18.
Oh, yeah, when you're 18, that's super
Got to make this shit. How do I make this fun? Well, let's turn this into a laser show.
That's funny.
Actually, you were telling me you like to go shooting.
I love shooting.
So, like, I know you said we're going to go, right?
Yeah, we're going to go.
We'll put that shit on the podcast.
We'll video it and do it.
I think I told you, but it's been my dream for like about 25 years.
To shoot a 50 cal.
And
I told you there's a guy at the gym who has one.
Yeah.
So we're going to hit him up and get him. He's going to go shoot with him.
You got to pack your own rounds for that, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I imagine it would be. You couldn't. I don't care how you find. I mean, do you find those somewhere?
Well, he's military.
Oh, okay. So
I'm sure he'll take care of us. Yeah, we're not gonna say who it is.
These days, man, I was talking to some of my friends in California, and they said you cruise around some of the gun places, and there's like lines around the fucking block
trying to get them because nobody knows what's gonna
happen.
Yeah.
Like, so. We got we're 2 months into this a month and a half into this.
Yeah.
And I told people this before. Your life is going to go on just like normal.
Right.
Like, like small little things, but it's still going on. Like nothing's changing in my life.
Yeah, in ours.
Right.
But in other people's,
right.
It's been.
So like, what things am I missing?
I don't know. I think where we're at too is
we're
not as restricted as where some of the other places have been.
I classify Arizona and Texas in some of the similar kinds of open carry states.
Like, we just kind of roll with it.
These are the kind of states where Arizona's the kind of state where you have those bumper stickers that say, "Oh, you'll get my gun out of my cold day."
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Can't drink and drive at all. Zero tolerance. Yeah, but you can walk in packed. Anybody.
That was such a surreal experience I had once. The first couple of months I lived here. My brother and I went to McDonald's just to fuck around, and we walk into McDonald's and we get our food. I'm with his son. His son's like 21, and we sit down. We're eating our food, and some dude walks in, some older gentleman. He's probably like 60, 55, 60, and looked like he was okay, dude. Right. But clearly he had like a fucking 9mm on his side. Yeah. He had a fucking knife on his other side. I'm like, when is this guy getting ready?
Wild West.
All by himself, man. He's all by himself in the fucking McDonald's. I'm like eating a hamburger. I'm like, and my brother's like, that's where you moved, man.
That's pretty much how it is.
So today there was a couple topics that somebody gave you that I wanted to talk about. There was
Marissa, one of my clients. She said she's like, I gave you all these ideas and you don't talk about them, so we're going to talk about some of those.
So
let me pull it up real quick.
There was one I heard about coaching.
Yeah, there was a
really good one
about coaching. Hold on. Let me get
I love answering those coaching questions.
So the basic qualifications to look for in a trainer. And I think this kind of falls into another one, and we'll kind of address both of it, and it's influencers and social media's effect on the fitness industry. Not so much that, I think it's helped it and publicized it, obviously, but whose knowledge do you trust?
Right.
Because there's so many...
What's your name again?
Marissa.
Okay, good questions, Marissa. Very, very good questions. Actually, because I talk about this a little bit. Here's my take on it. You
go ahead. Yeah.
So my take is, so the first, she's asking really about how to evaluate, a good coach, a trainer or a coach. So I classify coaches and trainers kind of separately.
Absolutely.
A trainer is somebody who works with you in the gym, and a coach is really somebody who coaches you through that process. Maybe, and I think of it as a diet coach because
you can do both. I do both.
You can do both. Yeah, absolutely. It can be done. Both can be done. But in general, I think this is my opinion, most trainers, I'm excluding you from this category, they know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to nutrition.
Oh, 100%.
They know
100%.
General things.
And I think the good thing, there's all this talk about caloric deficit and different ideas, but what you have to do is take what you're looking for. So, I mean, what a bodybuilder or a competitor is looking for might be different than somebody that's overweight is looking for. So you have to get into exactly, I think the first thing you have to do is really home in on what you want as the client to find the right fit for you.
Right.
Because it'd be like there could be a great weight loss guy that can has 1,000 transformations, but couldn't dial me in for a show.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it really does matter the arena in which they work in and what they're. So I say this: when you're evaluating a coach or a trainer, someone who's going to work with your diet, work with your training, you really want to make sure. I say first, one, always look at the experience.
Absolutely.
So first thing, how long have you been doing this, and who have you been doing it with? And I'm not saying like what champions do you have, because some people don't have a lot of champions.
And some people have a ton of, might not have a bunch of champions, but have a bunch of great, 100 very successful clients. But then I want to look at your worst clients. Anybody can get those genetic freaks. I'm like, you can give me 1,000 grams of carbs a day, and I'm probably going to get leaner if I'm not eating fat.
I know, this is one of the
look at somebody that's a hard case or not their go-to. If somebody's posting the same client every day, or it's like even some of the big coaches, out there, some of the biggest ones, you might only see like 4 or 5. I'm like, well, I want to see your 150th client,
and I think
that's getting the cookie cutter stuff.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, which is that anyone can take really good gene pool and make good stuff out of it.
And I'll use this as an example. So I'm not going to name this coach because I promised the client I would, and she listened, so I can't do it. He is a major, major coach. She came to me. She ended up switching. This guy sent her a diet, and it was probably one of the worst diets I've ever seen. It was straight cookie cutter. Then her workouts, I read the email, said, go every set to failure as hard as you can train.
So he's not trying.
And he's got a bunch of pros. She switched. We probably doubled to tripled her food, gave her workouts, and she looks like a different person in 3 weeks. It's insane. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I looked at the changes, and it was doubling food, less cardio, and specific training. And she looks like a competitor now.
I think that's the problem with cookie cutter things.
It is. It doesn't work the same for everybody.
Yeah, and you got to really take, I do everything by hand.
Yes. Now, I mean, I get it. If you have 400 people, you have to have a template on what you're going on and adjust. But chicken and rice and asparagus every meal and 75 grams of carbs and 2.5 hours of cardio isn't going to cut it, guys. Like, I don't care if you're the best in the world. Or chicken and potatoes every meal. I've had that one given to me before, too. With 2 hours of cardio. And as much gear as you can get.
But so I think that when you evaluate, when you look at that, look at the experience. Look at the kind of people they're working with. And you look at those kind of people, like, if you're going to be a competitor, you don't really want to, like, somebody who just works on transformations.
No.
Or someone who just works on, like, just general weight loss.
I think it's a lot easier for great, like, let's take you as an example. You can dial somebody in and dial a pro in. You've done great stuff with me, and you've been doing it for 2 weeks. I'm up like 10 pounds.
You're like another person.
Yeah, I added a person. But you can do transformations and weight loss and address a lot of issues. I think it's a lot harder for a weight loss specific person to walk into the bodybuilding world. Yeah, there's just a lot more to it.
Yeah, you're right. But when you look at that, when you look at the experience, so like if a person's evaluating, so I always say talk to the person. You really got to talk to them.
And you have to vibe with them too.
Right.
I tell my clients on a consult, I'll be like, hey, if you don't like me and we're not a good fit, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
Right.
And if I don't like you, I'm going to tell you, or I don't want to work with you because we're not going to get it done. And let me help you find the right person for you.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense though to be able to,
because neither one of us are going to be successful.
Well, you were saying before, like, you're a really hands-on coach. I'm really hands-on as well in terms of, like, I want lots of communication, lots of dialogue, and I get to know the inner workings of their personal lives because it's important.
Absolutely.
And you got to have someone you can relate to. You got to have somebody who you can trust.
And I've seen people too. Before me and you talked, I looked at a couple of people, and one guy was like, I want $4,000 up front for the year. And he's a great coach. I kind of know what he does. But I'm like, but what if I don't like working with you? Or what if we don't? I'm just going to be like, oh, sorry, I'm going to go to somebody else. And, look at what you're going to get out of it.
Right.
And if somebody, and I do year contracts if somebody wants it, maybe after we've worked together. But I'm more like, I want to know what I'm getting, and I want to know I want to work with you before I take that type of commitment on.
Everyone's got their own process, the way they evaluate that. So here's why I think that most trainers. I made a blanket statement. I want to backtrack because I really want to qualify this because a lot of people. Because I don't want to get people. I don't want people thinking that I'm just trashing trainers who are in the gym. They don't know what they're doing. No, there are some really good ones who can do diet stuff pretty well, but most of them they're not trained that way. They're trained to work. They're trained to train people in the gym, and that's a very different skill set than working with diets. I mean, you got to have a very, very different skill set. But when you look at the body of their work, like I look at the hours somebody spends. So I don't care how successful, because I do, but it's not the main thing. The main thing is how long you've been doing this. Because if you're, so they've done research. Mm-hmm. Like if you've ever read the book, I read, I think it was Robert Greene. It was, anyways, it was called Outliers.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm blanking on this person's name, but anyways, it's a wonderful book. It's the book is about success. And it was Malcolm Gladwell, and he was trying to figure out the question he's asking is are there certain characteristics to successful, truly highly successful people? Now, not like just general successful.
Right.
These are the upper echelon of success. The
Absolutely.
top 1%, the Einsteins, the Steve Jobses, the Bill Gateses of the world. Right, those people are, and he identified there really, really is. And one of the things he identified is, one is opportunity, but aside from all that general stuff, the one specific thing that always rings true is that there's about all of the masters, Einstein, Mozart, Beethoven, you name the master. It took them about 10,000 hours of work to get to start producing the kinds of masterpieces that they were producing. And I believe, and he asserts this, and I say the same thing, that it takes about that to be able to be the kind of master trainer or the master dietitian that you...
Well, it comes into, you can know everything by the book, and there's always going to be something that throws you for a loop. So it's being in those scenarios and learning by error.
That's
if
exactly
you don't have it, you can have a doctorate from Harvard in nutrition and not
know what the fuck
run
to
into
do.
something and not know what happened.
So when you start boiling this down, 10,000 hours, what it equates to is
years.
It's about a decade, a decade of work of doing it every day, 8 hours a day. Now, a 25-year-old guy in the gym, is not going to have that. Even a 30-year-old guy in the gym probably is not going to have that. So I usually say, man, if you really want the upper echelon, if you don't want that, that's fine. Some people don't need that.
No.
Some people just need general stuff. But if you want the upper echelon, the ones who, then you're going to probably want to go with age. I hate to be ageist, but you're probably going to want to go with at least somebody who's around 35 or older.
Agree.
Because they just don't have enough experience yet.
I don't know. I didn't know half the things at 28 that I know now.
Well, yeah, because you hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, I hadn't run into the scenarios and the issues and the problems.
So those two things first. So
to break down, the first thing I think you need to do is identify what you want.
Right.
So if it's nutritional help and training, look at somebody that does that and is good in both. But there's other trainers, that do circuit training and group training, and that's all they do. And they're good at it, but understand you're not going to get the attention in that to where it's like, if you're a beginner, going and jumping in a group might not be the best thing for you because you're not going to learn the fundamentals.
I would say it's interesting because you and I track very, very similarly. So I actually did this math. After I read that book, I did the math. I figured out how many, so I have about 87,000 hours. That's how many hours I have. Yeah, it's a lot of hours because I've been doing it since I was doing it since I was in college. I was working with athletes when I was in college. I actually worked with the OSU football team, helped them gain weight. Because I remember the coach came up to me and says, "Hey man, I'll let you work out at the facility for free. You don't have to do it. He says, just work with my athletes and help them gain some weight." Because we were running the option.
Oh,
so we're just all running, and we had nobody's.
Yeah, you're just running.
Everyone was so small.
Yeah.
And I was working out with the center. And his name's Frank, and he's like, hey, and he was talking to the coach, like, man, you got to have this guy well, because I put 60 pounds on him in 6 months.
Yeah.
And his coach was like, Frank,
come
here, what are you doing, bro? he's like, nothing, man, I'm just eating, I'm just doing this.
I think the big thing is, and a lot of people get this too, and this touches on the social media side on it. It's like you can walk in the gym and they see these 25, 26-year-olds that are shredded.
Right.
And one, genetics play a huge role in it. And just because that doesn't mean they can get you shredded.
No.
No, I mean, I'm saying you should look the part halfway.
Well, that's like saying that Einstein's going to be able to teach you how to solve like these master equations.
Not. Like, no, I mean, a lot of times it's like people are like, oh, well, I'm going to coach myself, and they have all this potential because they are genetically gifted. And I'm like, well, how many Olympians do you see that coach themselves? I mean, I don't know any.
None.
Like,
well, there might be one, but they're not nobody who's winning.
Right. And no, that's on the stage, but I'm saying the winners, I mean, they're with somebody else because you can't be objective at the end as much. That's true. At that level.
You can't be objective. And quite frankly, one of the reasons why, well, one, I thought it was more exciting to have you help me with my diet because I will take it a lot more seriously.
Absolutely.
And I will also be fucking easy on myself.
Oh, I do.
Now, when I was an athlete, I was hard on myself. But I'm not competing anymore. Has been on my mind. So I'm like, okay, today's protein pizza night.
Yeah, or it's like, I'm going to eat this tub of ice cream because I'm 2,000 calories short. Sorry, guys.
Or I just won't push myself hard enough, or I just won't,
Well, I mean, I think our level of training every workout's getting higher, too, in ours.
Dude.
We're falling in stride now.
We did arms today, and I came home and took a shower, ate my meal, took a shower, and I'm like...
Yeah, I text you, and I was like, I'm tired. I was like, I had to train after, and he's like, oh, I took a nap.
I'm like, I couldn't help it, man. I'm like, fuck this, man. Like a 45-minute nap. I love that, man. I love 45.
But no, so getting back in, number one is identify what your goal is.
And then relatability,
100%. And then look into their body of work.
How much experience they really have. Do
you like their style of training? Well, I mean, some people hate my style of training. I think of it they don't want anything to do with what I'm doing in the gym.
I think of it
and some people love it.
I think experience works like this. It's like getting degrees.
Right.
So, like, to me, every 5 to 6 years, you're pretty much getting a degree in the sport. So every 5 or 6 years, you're leveling up. That's my opinion. If you're working consistently, I'm not if you're working only with like 2 people a year. Yeah, no. But I mean, like if you're pulling
like a 12 plus hours a day in the.
And now you don't have to.
And that's not 5 days a week. That's every
Dude,
day.
I spent decades where I worked 70 hours a week.
Oh yeah, and that's where I'm at.
Like fuck, it's like
you're like we got to figure out what to do.
We got to figure a way. You're gonna crush yourself here, and we got other stuff we got to do.
Right. Yeah.
But you look at that, and then you could say, okay, well, how many degrees does this person have? So to speak. I'm just using that as a metaphor.
How many years?
Like how much? What am I really getting into? Will this person be able to handle all of those little idiosyncratic things that come up? That's the stuff you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you run into these situations, I run into a million situations that I tell people, look, man, there's not a whole lot of situations I haven't encountered.
No, it's not at all.
It's only because I've done it for 30 years.
Right.
So that's it. It's the only reason.
Absolutely.
It's not because I'm smarter than anybody else.
People, like I said, a lot of people will go and be like, oh, well, this person has all this great books they've read and done all this. And
or they have they got this pro and this pro. And that's fantastic.
And I mean that.
But it doesn't.
But a lot of people, I mean, it's kind of like, and this isn't a knock on somebody, but I'm like, if Flex Lewis comes knocking on your door,
you're not going to say no.
You're not going to say no, but also, and his coach is great. That's not saying that. I'm just using him as an example. It's like somebody who's not as good as Neil could probably have done pretty well with him.
Right, yeah. The one thing that they couldn't have done was, just because I know their story, is that Neil and Flex have known. Neil's been working with Flex since he was like 14.
Forever, yeah.
Like he's like 14. Like he literally started in bodybuilding.
Years, yeah.
And so they not only are they friends, but they have this relationship.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, there's a real relationship.
It's like a family thing.
Yeah, and that's. Man, so when you're
different. That's different.
Yeah, so like,
but I'm just saying I wasn't using it for them specifically. I'm just using it as the physique example.
No. You're absolutely correct.
Because you do have genetic threshold potential that you can only go so far with.
Yeah, like some people are never going to make the Olympia stage.
No,
just speaking.
It's not going to happen.
But everyone could look good, and everyone could make progress.
Oh yeah,
well I mean, no doubt.
It's like you can take Hunter for example. You saw him. I'm like, this kid, I can feed him 1,000 calories a day. He can go work out.
He looks like he looks like his body wants to grow.
Oh, it's insane. He already texted me. I just went and ate with him before he came over here. He said, hey, I'm hungry. Can I eat again? I was like, wait 45 minutes. We just ate. Like, at least give it an hour.
Don't compromise your digestive system.
But he does. I mean, he looks at a weight and he grows. He'll do great. He's one of the ones, like you heard it from me. He will be a top level competitor. The kid works hard. He has genetics, but it's
and I want everyone to notice the first attribute that he mentions is his work ethic.
Oh,
it wasn't how much drugs he's using. It wasn't his genetic potential.
Nothing. I'm like, if you looked at what he was on, you'd be like, no, I don't believe you. Like literally, it's.
Hey man, we had this conversation with that girl in the gym today. And we were saying we were talking about Michael Hearn, and nobody believes he's natural. Like I've known Mike since 1989, 1990. We competed with each other at the Emerald Cup in 1990, and he was
Washington.
Yeah. We were both in Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, in Olympia.
And so he has been a powerlifting athlete and a bodybuilder since he was like 14.
I mean, he looks great.
His dad's a bodybuilder. Right. All his brothers are football players. They're all athletes. They're all football players or bodybuilders or weightlifters. But I've watched him over the last 30 years. I believe it. I know it. I know it. I don't think. No, he doesn't have any of this. He doesn't have any of the kind of damage that usually you get from strength levels going up really fast. From gaining. He's never gained weight. Look how many stretch marks he's got. He doesn't have any.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that because he doesn't grow excessively
that fast. Yeah.
He doesn't grow that fast, but he does grow.
Or he just has really good skin and lots of cocoa.
That could be. Yeah, maybe that's true. He does. I think he's done some stuff to his face. I had never asked him because I didn't want to I don't want to offend him because
I would say he's probably had some.
Oh, I know. I'm pretty sure he's because he's in that Hollywood circle.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember in the '90s. Remember all those Harley Quinn? You said you did these Harley Quinn romance novels. So did. Remember you said you were on the cover of these novels. Yeah. Dude, that's what Michael Hearn got. He was on hundreds of them. In the '90s. I remember. I'm looking at these things in the grocery store. I'm like, fuck, that's Mike.
There's a bunch of fitness guys that do it.
I was like, fuck it, was right. Then he got on that show. He got on the show American Gladiators.
Yeah.
He was. What was I forget which one? He was Titan.
Titan.
He still uses that name.
Yeah.
My Titan.
And then he's got the Huskies everywhere.
Yeah. Well, those are his babies.
Yeah.
Until he has his baby now, but. Him and Mona. I love Mona. She's awesome too. I never thought he would ever get married. I really didn't. Because back in the day, man, that dude had pussy thrown at him all everywhere, fucking left and right. And he even told me, I remember about 9 years ago, we were at the Arnold and we were talking, and he's like, I'm like, how's it going, man? He's like, oh man, he went through a tough time because he thought it was a good idea to break up with his girlfriend and just play the field. And he's like, fuck, man, I lost a really, really good person, and now it's done. I can't get it back. And he's like. So he actually, I think he had some stuff with his mom too. He went through at the same time. So he reevaluated his life, and then a couple years later, or a year or two later, he hooks up with Mona, and then he gets married.
Yeah,
he's fucking family man.
Right.
He changed his life. So, but he was a player.
I can believe that.
Good looking dude.
Yeah.
You could have got. Hey man, people don't realize. One of my ex-girlfriends was the boyfriend before me was the head sound engineer for Kiss. Aerosmith.
Oh, yeah.
He was big time in the music industry. And we would talk about all this stuff. She went to literally thousands of concerts.
Right.
So I'm sitting there in her bathroom the first night I stayed the night at her house. I go into I was in her master. I go into her bathroom and I see on the wall there's this big poster thing that she'd made, right? Somebody made for there's some pictures in it, there's some backstage passes. And I'm like, I figured it was just some shit that she had, from one of the concerts. Yeah. And it was Aerosmith. It looked like it was Aerosmith. But I'm like, look at these pictures. I'm like, this. Why is she? She's with this person. They're singing on stage. I'm like, this person looks really fucking familiar. And she's like, yeah, that's Steven Tyler. I'm like, why the fuck are you on stage with Steven Tyler? She's like, oh well, we're buddies. We went to AA together. His kids, my kids grew up with his kids. I'm like, oh. And my boyfriend was the head sound engineer for Aerosmith. So we were always traveling. I said, but why were you on stage? And he's like, well, because in Japan it's illegal. For them, because at the end of the show, they always do the same. Steven likes to invite one of the ladies up and sing to her.
Oh, okay.
But you can't do that in Japan; it's illegal.
Oh,
so you got it.
So they would invite her up.
So he said, "Hey." So before the show, they're like, "Hey, can I invite you up and sing to you?" She's like, "Sure."
Yeah.
So they did that, and they took pictures, and so she.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, really.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I found out lots of interesting stuff. What I was getting at with the story was that. These people like Mike, who live in this lifestyle, people like these musicians. When people say, I used to think it was funny. People, when they hear about all the infidelity that happens, right? All these women that just throw themselves at these dudes, right? Because they're musicians and they live a completely different fucking life.
Yeah, different world.
And I said, it's easy to criticize from your position when the pussy's not thrown in your face.
Yes.
I said, but when it's thrown in your face every day, constantly, I said, man, I'm going to tell you, I can only imagine how tough this is to resist. So don't tell me, don't give me your high moral
platitudes. Until you've been there, Until you've been there.
I haven't been there, but.
No, I'm saying, but you can't judge them. I mean, you didn't live that,
I'm like, because she's telling me about this life, and I'm like, this isn't a fucking normal lifestyle. She's like, no. He had his own personal assistant, gave him a phone. He said, he's only, I'm the only one who calls you on this phone.
Right.
This phone's just for me. You have it on 24 hours 7. And this is so. Steven, if Steven wanted to fuck a pizza at 2:00 at night,
he had to go get it.
He's like, I want a pizza. He's like, he'd jump up,
go get the pizza.
Yeah, it was awesome. He'd have a trainer. He hired. I think he paid him like $150,000 a year, something like that.
Yeah,
and he would just tour with
all the time.
Yeah, all of it. I was like, I want that job.
Yeah, for real. I feel like you can work your clients while you're there too, dude. Just distance stuff.
He would bring all kinds of. He had also a ritual after every concert. I said, he has a ritual. I said, yeah, he would want. They would go and have dinner, and he would want to have a fucking chocolate cake, not the whole thing.
Yeah, but like a piece of chocolate cake.
I'm like,
but I mean, they burn a ton of calories running around.
But so it's like he almost died.
Right.
Like he was doing a bender back in the, I think it was the early 80s or something. And she said that they were all looking for him. They found him in a hotel room and he was just fucking drinking this shit to death because the alcohol was his thing.
Yeah.
And I said, then he quit and went to AA, quit. So she had alcohol problems too. She quit too. And she said that after that, he got really super fucking healthy.
Right.
So like, only puts organic in. Like, his facial's done every week. He gets all this stuff. He's always like doing all this healthy stuff. Massages, cleansings, all you
get it all done.
I guess you might have to do that to the leg.
To like clean that system out. But
it's a hard life, man. Yeah. Like
travel every day.
I've heard some of those guys, like some of the big guys, like from the Rolling Stones, stuff. They like these. They do these they go to dialysis just to keep their shit clean.
Oh,
like they don't need to do it, but they do it.
Do it just to stay healthy, going. I don't. You know more about that one than me for sure.
It's all the drugs. It's all the. I've never used those kind of drugs, like I have no interest in using like cocaine. Or, it just scares me. And I also know me. I know me. If I use it, I'll be like, "Fucking this is rad." Great. I'm like, "Fucking this is rad."
Running around, going everywhere,
getting all my housework done. I get all my client work done in like 2 hours. But so anyway, so we got that one question. So I hope that answered your question.
Definitely.
I'm really big on people talking with each other and making sure that.
I mean, the biggest thing is being the right fit for the person, and then. I say if people look at them, I'm like, cool, if you're doing a leg day, well, check them out. I was like, if you're going to see another trainer, they're say, hey, I don't want my legs wrecked. I want to train legs, but I want my VMO sore.
Right.
Or like, can they isolate the muscle more than anybody can go in and wreck somebody? I'm like, that's not that hard to do, but can you manipulate the muscle and the angles to get the things that you want? And even if that's not the style of training you're looking for, check that, because if they can't do it, then, how are they going to adjust for injuries?
Yeah, and I think also, if you want, you're going to have to work with this person.
Yeah.
So, you better like them.
Right. I mean, you're going to be seeing them 2-3 times a week. But, group training is a little different, because if you have a bunch of girlfriends, like girls do a lot of group training, if 3 of your friends are going to it, you're going with them to hang out with them and get a workout in.
I guess that's true. I stopped training people years ago because it's too much. It's time consuming. It is
time consuming,
and it's very tiring. And then I don't want to fucking do my own workouts because I'm tired.
That's why we train in the morning.
I lift everybody else's weights, and I'm like, I love doing it. But I think you and I make an interesting compliment because your strengths are really, really in the gym. I was telling somebody else, you have a really, really good eye for. Getting the angles right, making sure the activation is right where you want it, and you have you're really good at that. Actually, very, very good at that. Better than I've seen most people.
Thank you.
I don't think I'm nearly as good at that, although I know how to do it.
But you're good at it. You're good at it in our workouts,
right?
But it's not something that you would want to have to do all day long. And I think part of that too, and it's really what type of clients. And I have lifestyle clients and stuff, but they have to be okay with training like that.
Right.
Because if you're not, I don't want to train you. I enjoy doing that and being able to manipulate movements and come up with different stuff. But in 10 years, I might not. I'm going to be all right, I'm done.
So but my strengths are more on the diet side and on the drug side. Which is fine. It's just where I put my energy.
And I like learning from you on that too.
You're good.
I'm pretty good.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But I have a lot I've learned a lot from you, especially in the supplementation world. Our diet style is probably a little different, maybe just a touch, but we complement each other in different areas.
Well, your body works a lot like mine.
Yeah, it does.
You're just bigger. You just got a bigger frame. You're bigger, and you got more muscle right now.
You said right now,
right now, because I'm putting my weight back on. Maybe not all. I don't know.
You act like I'm not. You remember I'm coming back too now.
I can't help
had 8 months
I can't
off.
help it, man. I've never had to work out. I shit you not. I've never worked out with people where I wasn't the strongest dude or I wasn't the biggest dude. So this is good for me.
It's nice.
Since college.
But see, you don't let me bullshit. You make me do it too. You'll push me. So it's nice. He's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to sneak this extra plate on here for you on this one.
Well, we got plans.
Yeah, we do.
We got plans. So you get that. We're working on that pro card.
We are. We're going to see where that weight goes too.
Yeah, I have a sneaky suspicion. Did you weigh yourself this week?
Yeah, I was 267.
Okay, so I have a sneaky suspicion, and you started cardio this week.
Yeah.
So
30 minutes every day.
So I think off season-ish, easy. We can get you up around somewhere around 300. Your body may throw up at you for that.
My body may run to it because I'm actually. So the biggest thing with me is I've always wanted to be in classic. That's what I like. That's why I started competing again. Even looking at it, but I've always taken my off seasons honestly very lightly because I grow super fast. I wanted to stay in that weight frame. So this is the first time I've actually fed myself and taken an off season in years.
I think
really
it's gonna.
like that. I've always kept like super restricted to try to keep my weight down.
I have a strategy that I'm thinking of. That if we put as much weight, essentially it's the strategy that Neil does with Flex, because Flex really shouldn't be. He should have never been able to make that weight. No, but he was always able to get. He always squeezed them in, and he squeezed them in because they didn't carve him up. They didn't do all these things. But then by the time the day of the show, he looks like an open guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amongst boys.
Right.
Like he literally makes all those guys look like
crazy.
kids.
Yeah.
So, and it's because he's literally outweighing them by probably 20 pounds.
Oh, easily.
Easily. Because he doesn't look like he's 212.
No, he just weighed in at 212.
He just weighed in at 212. Yeah. So and you can do that when you have a lot of muscle. Right. You can do that when you have a lot of muscle. It feels like shit.
Yeah, but, I'm okay with
but ask him how those Olympia titles feel.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
I hope he's doing better. I hope he's doing better.
Yeah, he is. He
was doing all the stem cell stuff in the shoulders. And I know he was. I didn't even realize he was.
Did he have kidney stuff going on? His shoulder, or what?
I think it was his shoulders, and I think his tricep. I'm not.
He had
positive.
there was a
small
bunch
little
of stuff that
stuff.
came in this prep right at the end. I feel like it was 10 weeks out.
Yeah, I think he tore.
I was excited to see him in the open too. I was pumped about it. I was like, let's see what he's really going to look like now that he doesn't have these restrictions.
I'll tell you.
And he's opening Dragon's Lair in Vegas.
Yeah,
we're trying to roll out there. It's
going to be fun. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I now that I have deep suspicion that the Olympia is never coming back to Vegas. So I'm wondering how
I think it's going to be in.
I know. I was talking to.
But he's already got the spot in Florida.
Yeah. Well, my point is that part of the draw for Vegas became a hot spot for bodybuilding the last 10 years because, because the Olympia was there, Jay moved there, everyone moved.
The weather, the dry climate.
And so it makes it good.
Florida's weather's nice, but it's humid, man. It's
humid and it's on one side of the coast, so Vegas is easy to get to.
Oh, super!
And so, especially if you're in Olympia,
it's still West Coast, but yeah.
I mean, I grew up.
It's a long flight from Boston and the Northeast guy.
Yeah. But I don't think it's coming back after talking with Jake Wood at the Olympia. It sounds to me like it's going to go back to Florida for one more year, and then when everything resolves itself with this COVID stuff. I think he wants to in-house everything here in Arizona. That's what I mean.
That would be sweet.
I don't know if that's going to be that's going to actually come to fruition, but it sure sounded like that's what he wanted to do.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
Well, he lives here.
Well, that's just right down the street
he
from
lives
us.
He lives in Scottsdale, I think, and
Scottsdale's a great place. I mean, Arizona's a great place, especially for fitness. I just love the climate.
So I know you live in Scottsdale, so this is a side comment. So what is up? I feel like it reminds me of LA. The people.
It's East Hollywood.
It's like fucking, it's just all this pretentious bullshit. It just fucking makes me want to puke. I don't give a fuck what kind of car you drive.
The nickname is East Hollywood.
I'm like, oh my God.
Or East Hollywood.
I feel like I want to, that kind of stuff makes me want to barf.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much.
But it's nice.
It's nice. It's clean.
It's nice. It's clean. It's like, the police are kind of a little, they seem to be up people's asses a little bit much.
Yeah, they are.
But that's okay. I mean,
whatever.
I look white, so. What was that? There was another question.
The social media influence was one of them.
So that was the one I wanted to.
Yeah, we kind of talked about. So it's influencers' effect on the fitness industry and what is valid, which we kind of touched on a little bit.
I had a comment on this. I think it's kind of important. So social media, because it's been such a powerful medium the last 15 years. 10 to 15 years.
10, yeah. Instagram really like took off with it, I think, more than Facebook. And
Facebook was original, but then after that, all these Twitter, you name it.
Yeah.
When you can get ideas, when the normal person can get their ideas out there to the general public quickly and easily, that's the impact. And so that's what's happened. And then you get people who a lot of people are listening to, not because necessarily that they know anything,
but it's because how they look.
Or because of what they're saying. Yeah. I mean, if I go out there and say pizza diet, I'm gonna easily get some people that want
100%,
because it sounds good, right?
For sure.
So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. People trying to sell themselves. So there's a little false.
But just because that person can eat pizza and look like that doesn't mean you can.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
For sure.
So social media and how has it affected the industry? I think it has it's done a couple good things and a couple bad things. I think it has definitely brought to light some of the trade secrets that nobody used to really talk about, like the drugs and all that stuff. But it also elevated those topics to a level of importance that isn't worthy of it. So, like, yes, you, as a pro athlete, you're probably gonna have to use some drugs because your competitors are going to. You don't have to, but certainly you put yourself in a disadvantage.
At the top level, you're
going to be a disadvantage if you don't. You're going to be a disadvantage if you don't. More than likely,
absolutely,
unless you're just a fucking rock star.
Yeah,
but
I mean, even most of the top level guys are rock stars, and they're still using it.
So there's that piece that it has elevated that part to such high importance that everybody thinks that that's what you got to do just to get involved.
Absolutely,
it's like,
and I think we talked about it before. If you're having to run all this stuff to win a local show,
right? Then you're
what
in the wrong
are you going to do? Yeah, that's not. If you're doing it to make you happy and a goal and everything, that's great. But don't destroy your body doing it.
No. And the other thing,
and there's good ways to do it, but I will say this. There's not, I mean, if you're running it that way, it's not the best thing to do for your body. I mean,
and you touched on it. I think you said it before, like, just because they look this way
doesn't mean are.
Yeah. And there's a lot where
you have to remember too, is you have to, even we're super blessed in it. I work in a gym all day.
Right.
I can work out. If I really need to take an afternoon off, I can reschedule clients. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. Like, I can eat whenever I want. I can jump on the stair mill whenever I want. And some of these guys don't even really have to work. That is their job.
Yeah.
So if you're working a 9-to-5 or whatever, 15 hours a day, not getting your food in, then going to try to train and dumping a bunch of gear in there, you're not going to look like that. I mean, you're really just hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself.
Yeah, and I think what you see on social media, especially when it comes to some of these influencers, what you see isn't often.
And a lot of the influencers actually aren't even competitors.
Well,
but
what they're showing you isn't really necessarily always what's really going on in their life.
Agreed.
So it's an illusion.
You can pick and choose, for sure.
But my daughter growing up, being 11 years old, coming on 12, I have to be very careful. I explained to her that what you see is not the real life.
100%.
It's not real.
Well, and part of it too is it's like, I remember when I first got into going to like expos and working for some companies and doing some stuff, I was just like, oh yeah, this person's going to be there. And I was like kind of hyped, the first couple ones. And then I looked at them and I'm like, wait, you just posted a picture. That's not what you look like. Like, girls will be, some bikini pictures and then they're 30 pounds heavier. The guys 5,
oh, I know.
Or the guy's 5'5", and you're like, I'm like, wait, I'm bigger than everybody here.
I know. I saw one of the Paige Hathaway. So she's been really good with like showing what she really looks like. Yeah. So she'll show her cellulite. She'll say, look, this is what I really look like. And I kind of appreciate that because it gives, especially girls, especially girls, they need to. They did studies. I read these studies. They did studies with social media and young girls. Girls from the ages of like 12 to like 14, 15. They're highly influenced by social media. So they become, and in a negative way. So what happens? Sure. They see these other women. They judge themselves based on that image, and then and so it gives them a poor self-image.
Well, I mean, it's just like I could go take a picture and post it right now, and it's not what I look like right now. I mean, a lot of people shoot content in like a 3-month period, and that's what they use for the next year, 2 years.
Yeah, the shit I post is the shit that's just, I don't care.
I mean, I posted old stuff. I don't even really post on social media anymore.
Some of the old competition stuff I post. That's not now because I'm not competing now.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I like people to see who I really,
real,
which is why, Conan, what the fuck, dude? You always want to be in the podcast. Go.
You need a little stool. You can talk.
Go to bed. Go lay down. He thinks we're talking to him.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, hey, man, he tastes like salt.
Yeah, you get to see that? Stop, buddy.
What's the next question? Yeah, I think she had.
There was one. There was a couple of them on here.
But I do think that
qualifications for trainers.
I did want
the other one's something we'll touch on.
I did want to mention one other thing about these influencers because I see it all the time. And we joked around about this because you made a joke about how you made up some exercises.
We did do that.
Some of these people, I see the shit that they're posting about these exercises, and they're fucking bullshit exercises.
Oh, I mean, I'll go in the gym and sometimes we'll do like a leg workout. Let's say I was training Kristen on legs. This is back in the day. And we got these trainers were watching what we were doing and then use them in their workouts. So we would literally give false information and we would be doing like a plie squat, heels elevated on a dumbbell, which is all quads.
Right.
Throw a hip band on. This is the best glute exercise. Man, your ass is so pumped right now. And turn around and watch the next day. These guys use them in their group. Yeah, ladies, this is a glute exercise. I'm
I don't feel it.
Wow, this is horrible. Just because you threw a band on it doesn't mean that you're engaging glutes now. You're still getting quad. You might have some tension from adductor or something. But I mean, literally go through workouts and it was like, and that's one thing. And I'll say this: constantly learning from people. Always. I learn new movements, research, whatever. But if you're taking another trainer's workout, first off, go talk to them because you might not know what they're doing it for. And if you think they're good enough to steal something from,
because I bet you if one of those people came up to you and said, hey man, I saw what you're doing. Is that a really good movement? You'd be like, no man, this is bullshit.
Yeah, that. But if they came up to me and it was a good movement, they're like, hey, I want to use this. I'd try to tell them, hey, this is what I'm activating. Here's the things you need to look for. Because a lot of the stuff I do, if you do it wrong, you're going to hurt somebody. If you don't know what you're looking for, like the way I do hack sissies and stuff, nobody should ever do that unless like you have somebody that knows what you're doing. Because if you don't manipulate the feet the right way, if you don't roll onto your toes, like there's a whole method for it that they're not seeing that I might be watching. And you're going to hurt somebody's knee. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can mess up.
Some of this stuff you can't write down on paper.
No, you have to. And it's years of doing it. And I've watched some trainers go blast. Like, literally blast. These trainers are horrible. This is the way you do it. And they're literally contradicting what they're saying in the video. And I'm like, man, you need to, like, research this. And what you're saying is wrong. I actually sent a video of a trainer to Kristen and she's a doctor of physical therapy at her clinic. The whole clinic was laughing at this trainer because it was so bad. These are 10 doctors of physical therapy saying how much of a fucking idiot this guy is, talking about a Bulgarian split squat. Oh. And it was a joke, dude. Like she's like literally the whole clinic's laughing at this guy. And he has like hundreds of thousands of followers.
Well, it goes to show you that just because people are following you doesn't mean you know what you're doing.
And it would hurt people. I mean, we've spent a lot of time correcting other trainers' mistakes. Hip thrust is a huge one. We can probably go into a podcast. I want to actually get some videos of it maybe one time because all these girls are doing it and they're having all these back issues. And it's because they're doing it wrong and they're being taught the wrong way to do it. So
this became like a fad, I think. Like,
it works, but there's ways to manipulate it. Your ass doesn't need to go all the way down. It's not a hinge movement. Pelvic tilt. Pelvic tilt. That's all it is.
Yeah. Man, well, it makes sense if you understand the mechanics.
Yeah, it does.
So I think a lot of people try to come up with these crazy kind of new things, and they kind of like they're inventing the fucking wheel again.
You don't reinvent the wheel. You can find ways to make it better. But I'm like 6 straps on, 10 bands, weights hanging from stuff with a pull through. I'm like,
I know you got some. I love the names that you come up with.
All you can do is like press down. I literally blow people's minds with this one. Tricep press down. Stand straight over. Press down. Take a step back. Do 10 more. Take a step back, and they're like, "Why does it feel so much different?" I'm like, "You change the angle.
Change the angle, man.
Weight. Like that's all you have to do with it."
I don't know if you noticed, but I do that with different sets. So like each set, you'll see me.
I know. I've already noticed it. Well, how we were doing the triceps with the throwaway versus the pump and the different. I watch your elbow angles. Okay. The whole time you hit a different angle every time.
I'm trying to. I'm sensing where I need.
I know where you're getting into fire. Yeah. I knew. I caught on to it. I already saw it.
That's good, man. Well, I don't have to explain this stuff, but I try to.
A lot of people don't understand that. And that's another thing I think that goes back into, like, do you want a trainer? Do you want a master trainer? Do you want somebody that's, like, teaching
Or you just want somebody who's going to give you core stuff,
But just be really careful on social media. And there's I probably do stuff wrong that other trainers would say shit. come on, hit me up. We'll walk through it. I'll tell you.
I say that the results speak for themselves.
The results speak for themselves.
So like, if you're not, as long as you're like, I'm proud to say that I've never put anybody in the hospital.
I know this is. I guess the biggest thing with me is I try to look at it from a health standpoint too. Where I could change an angle on something to maybe get your glute to fire more, but I'm putting so much pressure on the knee that is it worth it? Why not just manipulate the angle in a different way or elevate or things like that? And that kind of shows me where somebody's knowledge is. They're like, yeah, you're getting the glute to fire, but you're completely fucking this person's knee up. Why? Like when you could just elevate and.
I'm really interested in. I just saw a video today, with Kai Green. He was using the NeuroFit.
I'm like hit or miss on it. I just don't know.
And Max Charles, right? So Max Charles, he works out with it everywhere.
Right.
And I think his trainer, whoever it was, I forget who he was working with. I think he must have told him to do it. I don't know if he did or not. I haven't asked Max about it, but the guy walks around and that's all he trains with around Bev's gym. He's trained shoulders or he's all just.
But essentially, is it not just Eastonson and electric? To make it contract more, but
I'm not an expert.
I don't know enough about it either.
I'm not an expert on this particular machine, but from what I understand, after talking to the company at the expo at the Olympia, that you can actually do more than just get the fibers to fire. You actually you can get them to lengthen. You can get them to contract. Really? Yes, you can do all kinds of things.
Okay, so there is another one, the BFR.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, blood flow restriction.
Okay.
So
like inclusion training.
Let me say this. Yes. The people that are tying bands around your arms, you're fucking idiots. I don't care. Trainer, you're using it. I don't care.
Like inclusion.
Do that.
I like inclusion.
No, I love it. But you have to be able to set the pressure to a certain amount of restriction or you'll cause nerve damage. So ladies that are going in and tying off your legs, you're fucking yourself up. It's not worth it.
It's got to be
do it the right way. You have to find the exact.
They make stuff.
Well, they're like $10,000 to get a good one. But it literally calculates to the body, gets the restriction. There are cuffs that run off a thing. So you can. I don't know the numbers. We'd have to find out. But it's like you can only take like up to 60% restriction in certain muscles.
I've done it with my arms before, and it's the same feeling.
Yeah, but you do stupid stuff all the time. It feels great.
It's insane.
But it's not healthy. Doing it in the long run because people who don't know, you'll see somebody that hasn't even learned how to squat yet, strapping up bands everywhere, tying off their arms.
I don't think you should do it every workout. I think you should do it a particular exercise.
I think you should do it. But like I said, you need to it doesn't work if it's not enough restriction.
Right.
And if it's over restriction, you call it neurologist. So you need to really know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Be a way to. I'm like, these bands that they're selling, I'm like, man, you're really. You get a pump, yeah, of course. You're restricting blood and the blood's running back into it. But don't, destroy your body.
The idea is to enhance that pump to the point where you stretch out all that fat.
Exactly.
That's the whole idea.
And then you have a rush.
Right, a rush of blood.
Back in.
And then there's a residual that later, after the workout's over, you created space.
Absolutely.
And now you could load nutrients in there.
Right.
But insulin does that too.
Yeah.
That's a lot more fun.
We'll do it the healthy way.
Everybody gives insulin a bad name. We'll talk about that.
That's a whole nother.
But it's not as bad as people think. But
you just have to be very exact in what you're doing.
Yes, you have to know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
You can't just.
This isn't for somebody to go and try on their own.
I think people kind of. Sometimes I tell athletes this, look, man, this isn't like taking aspirin for a headache. These hormones affect. There's a cascade effect of hormones. So
anybody that I have that runs it, I scare my clients. I'm like, you can die if you fuck this up.
Oh, shit.
No, I mean, but because I don't want somebody to be like, oh, well, he said 10, I'm going to pop 20 and then go and.
Oh, man, I had a client once. He said, you just really, really want to use insulin. So I'm like, okay. He was actually a D1 football player. And he was turned bodybuilder.
Right.
And so he's good, great physique. Right. He's a good guy. He worked out hard. So I had his diet on point. So I said, okay, man, we're going to start with 4 units. And then we're going to work up from there.
Yeah, that's like me, 10.
So he goes, the next couple days later, he calls me. He's like, oh, dude, I almost died in the gym, bro. I'm like, what do you mean you almost died? I said, you took your insulin, right? He said, yeah, I got treated before I worked out, had my meal, fucking came in there, trained, and I started fucking crashing. I'm like, you took 4 units? And I know what he was eating. He was eating like 200 grams of carbs.
Yeah, you weren't crashing off.
Like, you're not crashing, bro. He's like, no, man. I started seeing stuff. I started getting lightheaded.
What happened? He didn't eat the meal?
No, he fucking took 40.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, dude, are you an idiot? Do you know what 4 units is?
Okay, so here's the problem with people. when you take growth and you go to the 10, which is I'm saying, but when you take growth in an insulin pen, 1 IU is the 10.
Right.
So he thought 4 IUs the same as growth, probably,
I know he did.
And he took 40.
See, the way they make insulin syringes, they always, 1 cc is always 100 units. It's divided into 100 equal segments. So you always know how much, they do this on purpose. So if I said, man, you took 40. He's like, oh man, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, of course you did. You almost passed out.
Yeah.
So it's easy to make that mistake, but I told him over and over and over. And I said, look, man, it's a very tiny amount.
Yeah.
I said, but it has a big impact.
Yeah, but to a bodybuilder, this is a tiny amount.
I'm like, oh my God, dude.
It depends this tiny. It'd be like if somebody told you to shoot that much test, you'd be like,
well, I think what he did was, he was like,
I
said, so what did you do, man? He said, oh, I fucking went. I said he had a bunch of Snickers bars. He just started
smashing. Grape juice works the best, or pineapple.
Well, there's too much fat in those, so he's gonna throw it right into fat. What's gonna throw it
just makes you into a sponge.
Well, in a high insulin environment, your body naturally wants to start creating triglycerides.
Right.
This is the reason why I tell people start low, see how your response is. And when that meal, you got to minimize the fats because it's going to store things.
Right. Absolutely.
And there's only one place for fats to be stored: fat cells.
Right.
So it's like, if you want extra fat, then don't eat any fat with it. And and with a Humalog, you got a 2-hour window. So you got to restrict that fat for about 2 hours.
It hits 1 and 2, right?
There's a 20-minute peak, and then there's a 2-hour peak. Yeah, it's usually the case. Most other ones, it's still longer. There's a peak later.
Right.
But
and then it's your 4 hours before you should put fat in, right? Over 20 grams. Usually, after 2 hours, you can go up to 20.
I think you can do it after 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always did 4.
Once the insulin level is up.
But I'll still put in 12. But that's me.
Once the insulin levels come back down, then you're fine.
Right.
What was the next thing?
We'll definitely do a whole. Do a whole.
I get that question. I get questions on growth hormone and insulin a lot because, and I'm gonna. The prelude is this: that insulin was the game changer in the bodybuilding industry. It changed. It made guys really super huge.
Here's one I haven't told you about this, but I want to start doing this as a mini segment, so we'll keep this short. Drug of the day.
Drug of the day.
So we pick one.
Oh, this is good. I like it.
PED. And we're going to talk a little bit about
it.
Just little 5-minute, and I think we should do an exercise and talk about it too.
Okay.
And we maybe start that. So one exercise, just little 5-10 minute segment. We'll pick one exercise, break it down.
I'm going to start today because I get this question a lot.
Okay.
Because everyone always compliments.
This is the last one off the discussion.
Everyone always compliments me on my shoulders, but my whole life, because I've always had big round shoulders. And I say, what's your favorite shoulder exercise? And they always.
Hey, hold on, real quick. I got to say. You've never trained with anybody who had bigger shoulders than you until now, though, right? Because you're talking about you're like, this is like, because I compress more than you.
You compress more, but yeah. But let's get on the list.
Oh, yeah. I'm just kidding. I had to get my jab in.
No, yeah.
All right,
well, wait till I get my shoulder, let's get my lateral raises up to fucking 90 pounds again.
Okay. You don't think I'll be using 120s?
We'll see.
All right.
No, but
exercise of the day.
Exercise of the day. Lateral raises.
Love them.
Okay. My favorite.
So many manipulations on it. Though.
Yes.
What is your go-to?
My go-to is I reach behind I let those dumbbells come right behind my ass so I can stretch the front down.
But do you pronate it and rotate? Do you dump? For you, I have a way that I can feel mine.
Supinate pronate, right?
Supinate pro.
Yeah. Pronate. So I pronate it from the rear and then I supinate it up the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
I go. So if I come here, I still stay. If I pull a little bit to the rear and push away from my body, I get more lateral and I can pull completely out of my traps. So if I come in, my trap fires time.
So how I fix that is I do the one arm leaning lateral raise.
Well, we did that on the K-Base.
Right. Yeah, and when I do that, then it's easier for me to disengage that, and it's easier for me to get the lateral head just specifically.
I've seen the dump out ones. That's on the day Abbas is big on these.
Yeah, and I've always hated those.
I don't like them either.
I always thought it was a cheater's way to do a lateral raise. That's just me.
I just don't. I don't like the way it feels.
I feel my traps, and I don't really feel.
I had to throw that. That's you have the straight, you have the front. I hate this.
I don't like
that 90 degree.
What the fuck I don't even know what that is. Like that's just I don't know. Yeah. I'd rather just get more.
There's a warm up in a 45. If you're leaned 45 degrees forward, let the elbow fall. In a 90 degree, I like that as a warm up movement. We'll do those. We did those the first day.
We did those. Yeah. I just don't get a lot out of those things.
No,
it
was a warm up.
Yeah. But that's my favorite.
Okay. I mean, I love all shoulder movements.
No, your exercise of the day.
We just pick one.
Oh, just one.
Just one, and now we're gonna pick one PD. So I'll go next week on exercise.
Okay, so you do the PD. The PD stuff.
Well, we just did insulin.
Well, no, but what's your favorite PED? We'll start as a new segment. So what's
Anadrol.
And yeah.
I love Anadrol. I get so excited when I get Anadrol in there. I'm like, yeah, 50 milligrams Anadrol. That feels strong.
I so wish that I could use that right now. I just can't. My blood pressure goes up.
No, I know. Well, I'm not using it either. That might be
one. I love it.
Like pre-stage pump.
I mean, I got some in there. In my cabinet, I was like, I was planning on.
I'm taking that. You're not taking that. It's mine.
No, Anadrol was one of my first go-to drugs. It was one of the. I remember back in the early '90s when I first started using gear. It was much harder to get steroids back then. We had to have sources. We had to have you had to know somebody. You had to go to your doctor.
Oh yeah.
And I knew a guy who worked on the line at Syntex.
Okay.
And he said he was bottling Anadrol.
And he was just.
And he said so they wasted out. No, all the tablets they wasted. If they're imperfect in some way, they would waste them out and they throw them away. Back then it wasn't illegal. Like steroids were not a controlled substance, so they didn't track where the waste. So he would just take this shit. He would take bags of fucking 1,000 Anadrol and he would bottle them up and fucking sell them. And I'm like,
yeah, give me the good one.
So we had that for a while, and I remember, man, I really grew the most.
That's one of those that I love because you just feel strong.
Yes,
like you just feel good every time. I'm like, if I'm having a shitty workout, I might have like a little stash, and I'm like, hey, let me run in the back real quick. All right, let's salvage this.
The only bad thing about Anadrol is
blood pressure.
Well, for me at least, aside from that, is that it does for a lot of people because there's so much water retention that it kills appetite.
See, it never has for me, and I don't really hold that much water on it.
Okay, well...
Now, if you give me a D-bowl in 3 days, a week, my face is going to be this big.
That's why I don't do that. D-bowl doesn't do that for me, but Anadrol does that to me.
Anadrol does not do that to me, but D-bowl makes me a little puff baby.
I'm like a fucking sumo wrestler. When I look like a goddamn sumo wrestler.
Complete opposite. That's one of the only things we're probably opposite on that.
I used to complain after shows. I'm like, my
EQ makes me hold water, too.
Really? Huh.
Less than Deca.
So you're probably just aggregating minerals.
Yeah.
So some people just are going to be more responsive
right.
that way. So I've never used a lot of EQ.
Well, RBC. Yeah. We'll get into that one another. But Anadrol, that's my favorite.
Oh, okay.
It's one of my favorites.
I love Anadrol too. It's one of my favorites too. It's I don't think Syntex stopped making it. They don't make it. So now everything you get now,
it's probably black market.
All the Anadrol now is black market. All the D-ball, all the Prima ball.
You can get Anavar script.
Oh, excuse me. All the D-ball, all of the Tren, which used to be called Parabolin.
Oh yeah.
Fucking, they used to call that back in the day? Jet fuel. That's what everybody called it. Yeah, that old Parabolin product, which is Trenbolone hexylate. That shit. Fuck, that stuff is good.
And British Dragons made one.
Really?
The Tren blend.
Oh.
It was the acetate, hex, and enanthate.
Oh, okay. I hate the enanthate. I'm not a fan of the enanthate. And here's
it just binds to a different ester, or a different receptor.
It is. They put it with a longer ester to keep it active.
It's on a different receptor so that you can cycle through and still get the.
So you end up getting water retention with it, which is
100%.
Which is one of the key.
It's an off. But if you were off season and you wanted to put a little bit of Tren in, would you not run with an enanthate just to save?
I mean, that would be an option, but I just in the off season you don't need to run androgen so high.
Yeah, it's even microdose.
Yeah, I mean, but if I was going to do that, I'd just use Masteron.
Well, that's true.
I like Masteron. It was made to potentiate testosterone. That's why that drug was developed.
Right.
So, whereas Trenbolone it's really used for cattle.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, Winnie's for racehorses.
Yeah. EQ was made for.
EQ.
I remember the name EQ, equine. It's based on
equipoise. Yeah.
Which is really interesting. When I this is off topic, but look at those really like highly trained horses, man. They're fucking beautiful.
Dude, that's what the guy that's going to come help us with the podcast stuff. That's what he does. Is he sells and breeds Arabian.
They're just amazing animals, man. I think they're just amazing animals, especially when you get those ones.
Tennessee walking horses. Have you ever seen those?
No, what's that?
I'll have to show you a video. They like.
Oh, they do the high step.
They're huge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like those Clydesdales, man.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Fucking badass.
Yeah, they're
bad. Years ago, I don't know if you remember the Budweiser had all the Clydesdales.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember what happened?
I'm not that young.
Do you remember what happened to them?
No.
So this is what happened. This is fucking shitty. So for all you, whoever the dickhead was that did this, I'm talking to you. So what happened was they kept them in a stable, and they let me treat them like royalty.
Yeah.
They were their mascots.
They're in Virginia.
Yeah, but they all died because somebody broke in and killed them, shot them.
What?
Yeah. Because they were the fucking Budweiser Clydesdale. That's what somebody. And I was like, what the fuck? Why? This is like maybe 25, 30 years ago. But I was like, fuck me. Why would somebody do that? Like, that's horrible. But it
was
probably some fucking animal rights actors.
Yeah, they went and shot the horses.
I don't know. I hope not, because God, that's the exact opposite of what you fucking trying to do.
What you should.
They were fucking pampered, man.
Oh yeah,
these horses had their life. So,
for sure.
But I just thought that was a shitty story.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's awful.
So they just don't. That's why you don't see the Clydesdales anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't. They just said, you know what, we're done with the.
We don't need that.
Yeah. So now we're gonna. What's our time? Okay, we're still good. We're still good. We're still good on time.
Yeah, we know we're good. So
now
the other ones are they'd be like a whole nother podcast.
So the update. So your update this week. We're week 2.
I got abs showing now, and I'm about 12 pounds heavier.
Okay. I haven't stepped on a scale.
Yeah, we're going to do that this weekend.
But I'm pretty certain I'm at least about.
You told me that I grew a person.
Yeah, well, I can see it. When you, it's all in your shoulders and your shoulders, chest, and upper body. I can see it.
Chris in the gym today was just like, he looked at me and he was like, "What are you doing?"
Who?
Chris, Chris that trains out back, the fighting coach. He was like, "What?" He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like,
I just feel like I'm filling out better.
Especially after I get a pump. I think Friday after back pump is going to be good.
Oh, yeah. Man, I remember the days.
And we'll start taking some pictures and stuff, and we can upload them.
We'll start documenting this a little bit. Yeah. It's got to get a process down.
Yeah,
for me, it's always about process, because otherwise I just forget about shit.
No, we'll sit a check-in day.
Yeah, because when we start working out, man, I get in the work. I like the workout. I like our workouts. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, I'm happy with all the workouts.
Except we got to get your legs to be able to go again.
I got to get, I got
to get my back going. You got to get your legs.
I haven't hardly trained, but they're already starting to fill out.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, but man,
easing into it.
I need to need to get Kristen to do some more needling on my hamstrings and on my quads. That was pretty interesting. I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah.
One of my clients.
I'm getting needled tonight after this.
Oh, really?
For my back. Because it's been so bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get about 50 needles on me after this. Well, she's going to do my lats too for.
Now you have a lower back, a spinal compression.
405, that's the one. But it's really muscular right now. I'm gonna get one of those inversions.
Yeah, so because you're putting all this weight on, I know what's going on.
Bottlenecking, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
my waist is tightening down too already.
And your spinal rectors, they have to stabilize everything.
Oh, I know. So we need to do some side work and probably some core work. I hate training abs. I hate it. I'm like, what? Well, I'm like, what else could I do with this? I used to train. I used to have a consistent ab training partner, but now that I'm single, I work so much. I'm so tired. I got nothing. I sleep.
I'm telling you, man, that was good ab workouts. I'm like, honey, I'm gonna do some abs now, okay? Because I'm the one doing all the work.
Oh yeah. And your update is you're up. We're coming. I'm sure. Give us another 2 weeks. We'll have a little bit better. We'll be in stride.
I know I started at about 205.
Yeah, you're bigger than you were when we started. I can see it.
And I know because I can feel it.
When you get pumped, you look like 225.
I know. It's always been the case my whole life. I remember I was working out with Jim one time, Jim Mannion at the warehouse, and he's like, and we were doing arms. And so I'm working.
Yeah, you have huge biceps.
So we're huge. And he's like, halfway through the work, he's like, Dad, come here. I'm like, what, man? He's like, do you take Viagra before you work out? I'm like,
Cialis, though. That's a secret.
Well, you can Viagra do the same thing.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, but I don't want to walk around with a fucking boner in the gym. Like, that's not.
It doesn't work like that.
Well, it will. It does for me, man. I take that shit and I'm fucking like.
Well, maybe you need to do that before you take MDMA next time.
Oh, man. Didn't know shit, right? I still got to talk to your friend about this. I'm getting the wrong kind of MDMA. Like, I don't think so. The shit didn't work. My dick did not work. I mean, I could use it, but it's not doing anything. I think it's because something with overstimulation. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe. Or you got in your head about it.
Probably, because my friend warned me.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, if you're going to fuck your lady, man, you better do it.
Literally, it's all a mental thing for you.
Man, because I remember the first time, before I heard this shit.
You were fine.
I was like, we were 12 hours, man.
It's all in your head. It's a mental thing.
But I was able to go much longer.
Right.
I don't know about you. I was able to because I am not a fast person. I'm going to be honest about this. I'm not a 2-minute wonder, okay? I'm like, you got to give me 20 minutes at least, man, because it's like, I'm gonna long stroke this as much as I can, okay?
All right. So you want to do the bullshit or bliss?
Yeah.
All right. This is off the cusp. All right. You want me to start?
You can start.
Abs are made in the kitchen.
I'd say that's bliss. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. College football is faster play wise than
bullshit.
Than
bullshit.
I disagree.
It's bullshit.
To me, college it feels
it has a shorter clock, for in between plays. But
it seems like the play is faster. Yeah.
Well, it might go faster just because of a shorter clock.
Okay.
Play clock, but the actual speed of the game is faster.
Okay, I'll give you.
Players are faster.
Okay.
All right. Gentleman Jack.
Bliss. That's just bomb bliss. I like the banana taste in it. I like the it has a banana.
It kind of does. It does.
I like the banana. The one I haven't tried yet. I want to try. Was it Walker?
Johnny Walker. Oh,
Johnny
Scotch.
Walker. Which one's the? Yeah, the red is the better one, right?
Well, there's black, blue.
There's black, blue, and red.
Is black's the best, right?
Is black the best? I don't know.
I think it's red, blue, black.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Black being the.
I've heard it's good.
I'll find out.
I've heard it's good.
It's good. I've had it. It's really good.
Okay, I've never had it.
Really, really, really good.
I usually default to my brother's recommendation because he's more of a connoisseur about Scotch and bourbon and all this stuff and beer. And I've learned a little bit from him, but he's like, I default to, and he and I, because we're identical twins, one of the most wonderful things about being an identical twin is that the shit that he thinks tastes good, I think tastes good. So I'm like, does that beer taste good, man? Because we'll go and get, we'll go and get it. Yeah, we'll go get a flight of beers and we'll choose different beers so then we can try shit different. Right. You taste this one, that one tastes this one.
And see if you like it.
We always choose, we almost always, I mean, I haven't had any where we didn't choose the same things. There was only one he liked that was from a local brewery where they put fucking jalapeno in it. Fucking don't. My beer, I love jalapeno, but I don't want it in my beer.
Right.
So, but other than that, he liked it. I didn't like it.
You're up.
Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one.
Oh, God. The way you're laughing right now. I don't know.
Keto.
Bullshit. Except, I will say this. There are certain times, especially with women, post-cycle to reset the hormonal plan.
Right.
It can be used as a tool.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, nobody really knows how to keto.
Right.
Tilapia and asparagus is not keto, guys. Sorry. Hate to do it. 3 hours of cardio and tilapia and asparagus. Your coach doesn't have you on a keto diet. He's starving the fuck out of you. But for the most part, bullshit.
Okay.
Have to squat to grow legs.
Say it again.
Yeah. Squats. You have to squat to have good wheels.
No.
Okay.
No.
Full bullshit.
No,
I just wanted to see what you would say. Because you like the old school training, though, too. I was like, I think it's one of the worst.
Do I think it's a great exercise? Fuck yeah.
It is. But I think you also grow glutes and hips.
Absolutely.
So you don't always want to grow that as a body. I mean, you want to have good glutes, obviously. But you don't want hips either.
And most people forget that Dorian Yates didn't squat.
I have another one that goes with this one, so I'm going to ask.
Dorian Yates didn't squat because he had back problems like you. Yeah. So he did leg press, like hack squat, all these other things. Oh, yeah. And his legs were not small.
No.
So all you got to do.
My legs are not small, and I don't squat for shit. I squat like 135 for.
All you got to do, in my opinion, is, and I think you'll back me up on this, is stimulate the fiber.
100%.
That's all you got to do. If you can do it without...
Well, look at a power lifter. If squat built legs, power lifters' legs would be 10 times the size of bodybuilders.
That's right.
They're not.
They're not.
They're strong, but they're not the same size. All right.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
That's right. You just asked the squat question. Yeah. Okay.
I'm keeping all the... most of mine are weightlifting related.
I'm trying to think.
Because there's just some stuff like I want to
2 grams a week of test or more. 2 grams or more. Because a lot of guys want to start at like...
Bullshit.
That's right.
Bullshit. Like, no reason.
You don't need to start that.
You don't need 2 grams of all your shit combined unless you're like way up.
Even if you're an elephant.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
I mean,
you might have a lot of people take it.
I mean... Listen, my protocol left out.
I will say this, that there is logic
to
overloading the AR receptor.
Agreed.
But it's only at the advanced athlete.
But you have to be...
If you haven't used...
Start with microdosing.
Right.
All the way. See how your body's going to respond. Get the most out of it. When you're this age and this far in, just dump it all in.
Well, I will say this. Once you hit 40...
Yeah.
Then or maybe it's not 40, but somewhere around the 40-ish mark for most men, our testosterone receptors downregulate. Right. So it takes more. Yeah, so it's going to take me more than you, even though we're 15 years apart. And then it's going to take you more than the 21-year-old kid.
Well, and I ran so much back in the day anyway because they blasted me. I'm going to have to take more. Although I did run some really, really, really low, but I've been off for a long time. I responded really well to it. But I was running a lot of compounds. I was running a lot of different things.
Okay.
but my test was fairly low, like 600 a week. But I will go and get my levels done, and I've never been. I was running 600 SIP, and I was still over 1500.
Okay,
so
that's okay.
Yeah. All right. Here's another one that goes with the other one. Deadlifts widen the waist.
I don't believe that.
See, I do.
I don't believe that.
And this is why.
Whoa. Let me qualify this. But I only do stiff legs.
Oh no, I'm talking about deadlift.
Okay. Well, regular deadlifts, absolutely, man.
Okay, that's not stiff legs are completely different. So I'm talking about regular deadlifts.
So I would say yes. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So that's a bliss. Yeah.
Bliss. Okay. We got one more piece.
Yeah, one more piece. Okay.
We'll write these down next time and have them preload. We just decided to start
the segment this week, and we
had something else lined up. It fell through. We're just kind of rolling with this one.
Yeah, I know. Kristen was.
She got stuck at work. Yeah, so we were going to do a therapy one. We'll just touch on that really quick. Yeah. And about muscle recovery and firing.
Well, we can do that next week.
But we'll do it next week or a week coming in.
And hopefully we'll have all the video stuff much better. Hopefully this will.
Yeah, we'll have all this settled on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so let's see. Last question. I can load this. Like I can. I was gonna.
Oh, you're gonna load.
No. I just wanted to. I'm just trying to make you feel bad. Not really.
No good.
Shit. Okay, so here. So training 7 days a week.
All right. So I'm gonna say bliss, but I'm gonna put in active recovery as training.
Okay. I'll take that.
I don't think that you should weight lift load, but you should do maybe cardio. I think even, let's talk about needling. How'd you feel the day after needling?
I felt like I went through a fucking workout.
Right? So you do that on an off day. I would still consider that some type.
But I wanted to train.
No, I know that was my fault.
No, it was good because I needed the rest.
But what I'm saying is I would consider that training in anything that, I consider training working on my body. So, let's say we do yoga on Sunday and we do needling on a Tuesday, but we're taking a Tuesday off.
Dude, I swear my legs grew from that.
They did 100%. The muscles fired.
Yeah, they did. She put that E-stim on there and just fucking bouncing around. I'm like, okay, this is like, and the next day I'm sitting in my chair going, shit.
That was going to be my next one. I was going to say dry needling was mine. Just for everybody was my last one. So we're going to go with bliss on that. I'm assuming. Okay. For you, that was the question I'm going to answer for you. But that was my last one. I was going to say, talk about therapy, dry needling, ART and stuff.
Oh, right.
I think a lot of people neglect it.
They do it, and I can understand why.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, well, and quite frankly,
it hurts.
And quite frankly, there's not a lot of qualified people that really it's not super available.
I've had other people work on me. I've had some really good people work on me. I've had some really bad people work on me. There's a lot of people that are out there saying that they know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing.
You were saying something about some hitting nerves and shit.
She knew what she was doing. That wasn't her fault.
No, not Kristen. But you said
no. The girl who worked on me a long time ago when I had a partial lat tear, she didn't do anything wrong. That was literally because I had a tear in the muscle spasm. That wasn't.
That would freak me out.
Yeah, she didn't do it. Yeah. That wasn't fun. But no, I think it's a great thing. But I think that's another one. Just like finding a trainer, find somebody that fits what you want, and then look at their work. And there's a lot of people, because it's not always regulated the way it should be, depending by state. And some people can really
because that seems like
you can get hurt. I mean,
yeah, when you're putting needles in your body.
Well, not even just needling, but therapy at all.
Oh, right, yeah, you can hurt somebody.
Yeah, you can hurt somebody.
So I got one more.
All right, go for
because I want to talk about it.
Okay, let's.
So I think it's like February 20 something this month. It comes out.
Whoa.
It's the new it's streaming on HBO Max. It's fuck man, I don't know what it's the why it's because I'm trying to think of it.
Yeah.
But I was just watching the trailer last night. The Justice League. New Justice League movie comes out the end of this month.
Bliss, I'm fucking in.
God, I don't know. I didn't know if you've seen the trailer or seen.
I haven't seen the trailer, but I've fucking seen all the other ones.
It looks fucking
like
rad.
The actual Ben Affleck and Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
They made another one.
Yeah, it's coming out.
Also, Tom Cruise. Fuck you. I want to see Top Gun 2. I've been waiting on this shit for a year. Just fucking release it. That's all I care about. Corona was horrible, but it fucking took Top Gun 2 away from me. I'm really pissed about this.
I thought it was supposed to come out in the summer, right?
No, it was supposed to come out like a year ago Christmas.
Oh, okay.
I was like legitimately mad. I told you about that. I was like, the most upsetting thing about Corona to me is that I haven't seen Top Gun 2 yet.
Well, I have to say that I love going to the movies, man.
I do too.
It's one of my outlets, man. My daughter and I would go to the movies. I
would have like a gap in the middle of the day. I'd go see a movie by myself. Dude, I'd take my Tupperware in there, smash some food.
What I would do was I would go to the movie theater on a Saturday, and I started like early afternoon.
One to like 3 or 4. But my thing was, I was like, all right, I don't have to deal with anybody.
That's right.
It's just a fucking movie. Nobody's there in the
I get to go to the whole little world.
It's always cold.
That's right, it is.
I'm like, I've been in the heat training. Nobody's gonna fuck with me. Phone's on silent in the pocket. Don't talk to me. Give me in 2 hours.
I'm excited about this new.
Dude, wait, when's it come out?
It's February 22nd or 4th or something. It's like in a week or two. Something like that. I just saw the thing on my HBO Max. So it's going to be, it looks rad.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's
4 hours long?
Yeah, is it really?
Holy
fucking rad! That's my Saturday.
No. It's an episode.
Okay.
So it's like they're doing...
they're episodic. Okay. So
episodic. March 18th. So we got like a month.
Okay, I thought it was like February... Maybe they
wonder what night it's. What's March 18th? We might just make this like a weekly thing. It comes out on a Thursday.
Oh, fucking awesome!
Yeah,
cool. You want to watch that shit?
Yeah, done.
I love like the Justice League stuff,
yeah.
like all the comic book stuff. I love all that stuff, especially that new guy is going to play Batman. What's his name? You were talking about him.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. You got to convince me, man. This dude looks like
you got to watch the trailer. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to because
watch the trailer.
I'm not convinced.
I haven't seen the movie yet, but
so like when I'm watching a movie, I will suspend belief, but up to a point. I'll give you an example. 007. Fucking love James Bond. I've been a James Bond fan since I was a kid. My favorite James Bond.
Sean Connery.
He used to be. Daniel Craig is my favorite James Bond. I'll tell you why. Because when I look at Daniel Craig,
disgrace.
He looks like he could. You're supposed to have 007 rank in the British Secret Service is the rank of that you can kill somebody. It's the license to kill. So you better look like you could fucking kill somebody.
Daniel Craig like this big and Sean Connery's a fucking beast. Isn't he like 6'3"?
Sean
Connery would take Daniel Craig out on his best day anytime.
I don't know, man.
We should be arguing this reverse, by the way, because you're way older than me, so you should. I know.
I like it. The second I saw Daniel
Craig's good.
The second I saw him, I was like,
he's my second favorite. But Sean Connery is James Bond.
Like when I look at
who I didn't believe was Pierce Brosnan. I was like, no.
So I want to believe that this guy has a license to kill. I want to believe he can do this job. I don't
Dude,
buy
have you ever
it.
seen The Rock?
Yes.
Sean Connery, badass.
But he plays that role very differently. The way he played James Bond.
Because it was in 1960.
I know, but he plays James Bond like this dapper, like this, kind of this. Always, but Daniel Craig, he gets dirty, he gets bloody, he gets beat up, he fucking kicks ass, he works out. I don't even know if fucking Sean Connery's working out anymore.
They couldn't get away with all that.
No, they couldn't.
Then, like back in the day, they couldn't do stuff like that.
That's no excuse. You got to convince me. You got to convince me. That's just the reason. I love Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Especially as James Bond. But my favorite James Bond is Daniel Craig. Absolutely.
I think it was just, but Sean Connery, the voice, like just everything.
He has a rap voice.
He was the man.
I love his I love Daniel Craig's interactions with the women.
And he was Indiana Jones' dad.
Oh yeah, that's cool too. Yeah.
My movie knowledge is.
So I think he's got one more. There's one more. I love movies too. So
movies.
So we got a movie segment.
We should have a movie segment too. When movies come back. Yeah. I actually watched. We watched The Little Things.
Oh, good fucking movie.
Really fucking fucked up.
That actor who just got nominated for an Emmy. The guy who played, he got killed.
Jared Leto?
Yes. Fucking good. That's a good actor.
He's
a fucking crazy.
The crazy guy? Yeah, that's Jared Leto. He's also the lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's fucking talented.
He was the Joker.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
He's fucking talented.
Yeah,
I like that dude. I'm like, ooh.
Have you ever seen Requiem for a Dream?
No, but I wanted to.
Watch it.
Really? Is it that good? Okay, what's it about?
I can't tell you. It's
really
so
this
like
is
really he's an amazing actor.
So we're gonna see if you and I are really on the same wavelength there. Donnie Darko.
Great.
Fuck yeah!
Great movie. So good.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's really. Okay, you will really like Requiem for a Dream.
Okay.
Like really like it. You need to watch it tonight.
I'll watch it tonight. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I want to. Don't tell me what it is. Don't tell me.
I'm not telling you shit. It's twisted.
I love shit like that.
Yeah, it's really good.
I like the stuff that makes you think.
Yeah.
So I
Interstellar. We were talking about
fucking
that.
one of my favorite movies.
Nobody else likes that.
I don't know why. Somebody complained it was too long. I'm like, what the? You
have no idea what's
like. I wanted more of the movie.
We were talking about
all the string theory.
Yeah, the string theory stuff.
I watched this movie.
This is what we talk about during our workouts, by the way. We're talking about string theory and movies.
When I watched that movie the first time, I remember it being in the movie theater getting goosebumps, man.
Oh, it was so good.
I'm like, oh man,
so good.
And then
you thought about your daughter the whole time.
Yes, my daughter. Yeah, I was like, man, that's like because he's trying to get back.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Oh man, that's me, man. I would fucking do this shit.
It was fucking awesome. It was a great movie.
I like the way they kind of combine all the physics and stuff.
That was cool.
I really like it. I just think it's cool.
Yeah. All right, so. We're done for tonight.
Are we done?
Right? Yeah.
We're at the one. We're almost at the 1.5 hour mark.
Yeah,
at the 90-minute mark. So we're good. So that's episode 3. We got episode 3 down. So next week, a little prelude. We're gonna have this. We're gonna have our 3 segments. We're gonna have our topic segment.
Yep.
Our segments. And we're gonna have our bullshit or bliss. And then we're gonna have a movie segment.
Yeah. Then we're gonna do favorite PED.
Oh yeah, favorite PED
and favorite exercise.
Favorite exercise. So if you guys have any. If you guys have any topics or any exercises,
if you want us to talk about a specific PED or exercise,
because we'll do that too.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Because the favorite PED doesn't mean that it's our favorite. Could mean it's your favorite,
or not even our favorite because we're going to talk about a different one every week. Right. This week we just talked about our favorite, or sending your favorite and we'll touch on it.
Yeah,
and why?
Yeah, I mean, I love talking about the drug stuff
for sure. I love learning about it. I mean, I know about it obviously, but
one of the benefits that I had with my first wife. My first wife was a physicist.
Okay.
And she had a PhD and a postdoc in biophysics, and she actually started off in relativity, and then went on to get finish her PhD in biopharmaceutics.
Okay.
So she worked with the pharmacy department.
Oh,
and so I had this really great. This was during my early 20s. Yeah. I had this really great sort of tenure with these people where I was able to ask a lot of questions. Right. I was able to actually really get involved with a lot of the pharmacists and a lot of who were doing research. Yeah. So they were doing research on drug delivery devices and stuff because that's what my ex-wife was doing. So I had got this love for pharmacology and all this stuff. So I was like, man, I got to learn about this.
You got a lot of resource there.
Yeah, it was really cool. Not to mention it was fun to have conversations with my first wife.
As we get into contest season, I think we should put together some what would be like good start cycles? What's a good give out a little teaser information that we.
And then another a little plug is coming up. We're going to start offering some training camps.
Camps
where we're also we haven't quite come up with the name yet, but
it's going to basically be posing
and training,
and then possibly some therapy work.
Right, some therapy work. Right, exactly. And then we're going to offer a course on how to do the shit that we do.
Yeah.
Which is basically how to be a master trainer, so to speak, how to be...
nutrition, what to look at. And it's not just for trainers, it's for clients who want to come in and learn how we do what we do.
And we're making it kind of specific to this industry.
Yes, we are.
So, because nobody's really doing this. They're not really... Well, Dave Palumbo does the how to be a guru. And that's pretty good. I mean, Dave knows what he's talking about. Yeah. But he's going to focus you. I'm going to tell you, he's going to focus you on keto.
But Paul Quinn was doing it before he passed away too. He did some camps and seminars. He would do 2 days.
Well, that's good.
So basically, first day when we start doing that, we'll do a lot of information. We'll touch on some nutritional stuff, and obviously we'll have a Q&A for anybody there, and that's anything goes.
Right.
So and we'll go into depth just so people know. We'll go much further in depth in these than. You can probably even imagine.
So what got me excited about doing the weekend training and nutrition workshops, what I call it workshops, is being able to physically be in there and show people that this is what a high level workout feels like. Because I think a lot of people who aren't in the industry, who aren't like professional athletes, they don't really know, they don't have anything to judge it by.
I mean, I've had people come in and say, literally, they're like, I want to train legs. And I'm like, okay. And they're 4 or 5 years into competition, and I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Had a girl say, oh, well, I want to be a wellness competitor. And I was like, all right, well, we're going to train quads. And about halfway through it, she's like, I can't walk, and I'm going to throw up on myself. I don't want to be a wellness competitor anymore. And it was like, you don't understand what it takes to push yourself past.
I think that it's important for athletes to sort of feel that, especially if they want to advance.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's important for...
And then what's too far?
Yes, what's too far. But I also think it's important that they understand some of the science behind why you're doing this.
Right, absolutely.
So, because I'm a firm believer that when people understand more, they're more compliant.
Absolutely.
Diet-wise and training.
Most 90%. Some people know it and they're like, I don't really care. I just want to be told what to do and be at this result.
And I put together a spot, a couple weekend dates for these on my website. So if you're interested, go there. You'll get to.
And these are just little in person. These aren't the actual workshops. This is like a 1 day thing.
This is a 1 day Saturday.
Yeah,
just a 1 day Saturday thing where you train for 2 hours with us. You go and you do, and then there's posing for the people who are competitors. People who are not competitors, they go do some therapy work, like some ART and massage work, and then sushi at my place.
Right, and then we're also going to, as we're traveling this year, offer them in the cities that we're at.
That's right.
We talked about that. So it's
going to get kind of exciting.
Yeah, it'll be cool. At the different shows in different areas. We might do some Sunday stuff.
I want to go to Vegas and do this thing with at Flex.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to make that happen.
So, all right. So episode 2 down the books.
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much.